So here in round two, honestly, this can be more apropos for me to be leading this charge on this one because we're going to talk about board game blunders. And when I say more apropos, I mean the exact opposite because when the Lord made me, he broke the mold, and I am perfect. I have never made any errors. I have never made any blunders. Obviously, that is a bit hyperbolic, but I will say that I actually thought about this for a really long time, and I can't think of a time that like it just all came apart for me when I tried to like run a game or teach a game, and it just fell apart. I did remember there was one time a couple years ago at a Thanksgiving or Christmas, I was trying to like slowly rope my family into playing board games and stuff like that, and I pulled out No Thanks and I forgot to take the cards out. So we played with all of them. And so like my dad just like took almost all of them. So it made the game not very interesting at all. So like that was really the best one I could think of. I really thought hard, and like again, it sounds like I mean obviously making a joke about grandstanding about how great I am, but I can't really remember anything that really went wrong other than that one. That was the one that just it all fell apart. That's all I can really remember.
Yeah, were they able to like? Did you play it correctly later with them, or were they just done with the game after that?
Oh no, and that's the thing. They weren't done with it. The table still really enjoyed the game. It wasn't until I got home that I realized I was like, oh, I was like, I knew something was wrong, but I couldn't figure it out. And so I got home, I was like, oh, I'm supposed to take some of the cards out. But yeah, no, they had a good time. I mean, maybe because it was kind of easy mode, so to speak. But everyone had a good time. Yeah.
I got a suggestion for you, Chris. Next time, bring the mind and don't shuffle the cards. Just have them in complete numerical order. And we won. How about that?
We did it.
Actually, that's going to be really hard because if you don't know you did that, you're always going to be like, did I pick the two? You know, I have the two or I have the four.
Because they're this close.
Surely
all the
no
cards.
one has the three.
Yeah. It was fun. All right. Well, what do you got, Tober? What happened to you?
So I am actually in the exact opposite. I'm a flawed man. Have you ever had a huge lead and someone catches up on you? That is my life story. I'm always, I sprint out, do everything efficiently, get like super zoned in on exactly what the strategy is. I'm killing it. And then at the end, everyone just somehow magically catches up. I don't block someone or I let someone get, or I just stray from the plan just a little bit. It's happened so much that back home, they would call it pulling a Topher.
Oh no.
You had the victory. It's a short, everyone know you won. And then somehow they didn't win and everyone's really confused. That's pulling a Topher.
Grasp the defeat from the jaws of victory. That sucks.
That's over. I have to ask you about this though, but you are a facilitator of board games. You often try to pull people into your circle and teach them games. Do you think you're self-sabotaging because you're terrified that people will dislike the game if you win?
So there
Daniel's
are
saying that because that's what he does.
I deliberately
supposedly.
But I wonder if I'm secretly my own traitor and I do it without even me knowing. There are times where I'm consciously I'm like, I'm gonna deliberately slow play this and let the game last another 2-3 turns than it should, because just give people a chance to feel like they're in the game.
I like this guy.
Yeah. That's generally my way I do it when I'm doing the facilitating stuff.
Yeah. See, Topher, you're reinforcing my strategy, which is rush to the end.
Just
everybody off
as soon as possible.
That's right. All right, guys. Well, my board game blunder is pretty universally known amongst my friends and peers because it's one I have to share often. Several years ago, this really amazing game, and it took the world by storm, changed the board game hobby as we know it, came out, called Gloomhaven. Oh. And while I was not on the first road backers, I was able to set back the second game. So by this point, there was enough talk about Gloomhaven out there that I knew it was a really challenging game. It was really hefty. But I could take up the challenge. I could read this book and I could teach my wife and I how to play this game. So we sat down and we played this game together. And guys, this was the hardest game I have ever played. So hard that my wife would often say, I feel stupid when I play this game. Like, are you sure it's this hard? And I'm like, no, it does. So I started watching strategy videos. I started watching gameplays just to try to pick up little tidbits here. And I'm like, oh, I see. You're supposed to rush up on the archer and pin them to the corner so they have disadvantage. That's the secret. So we'd play it. After 3 attempts, we finally beat the first scenario. Then we played the second scenario. And after 3 attempts, we finally beat it. Well, the third scenario, my wife was like, I'm done. I'm out of this. I don't want it anymore. I'm never going to play it again. I go, okay, well, Sarah, listen. Randy and his wife, they play it all the time together and they don't have this issue. Let him come over and teach us how to play, show us what we're doing wrong and give it one more shot. She goes, okay, I'll give it one more shot. So Randy comes over. I have it all set out and he immediately goes, is this how you have the game set up? And I go, yeah. He goes, okay. The villain cards, see this number right here? It says 5. You guys are on level 1. And I go, oh. So these go up to level 7. Okay. We're level 1. We should have been playing on 0. So yeah,
Oh my God.
we're playing on hard mode the entire time. But come on, you got to defend me here.
Wow.
So if you never seen this before, you're going to look at this card and you want it to be right side up, correct? So you don't look at the numbers, you just make sure it's right side up. I didn't know there were 2 different numbers on there. So
I do admit
Yeah.
it's a flawed, terrible game, and that a good
would
game
admit that.
would not allow you make that mistake.
I would admit that, and I would admit that as well. I will also admit that I pulled a Topher twice on Friday night. So
oh,
Ooh, nice. I'll also say, like, when he started talking, I was like, what story is he going to tell? There's so many. But then also, I was just like, he kept talking about Gloomhaven. What did he do with Gloomhaven? And then it like hit me.
Exactly.
Like, oh, yes.
yeah. Yeah, but you know, Chris, you're right. You know, people might have think that he was razzing me there, saying he had so many. I really do. I am the worst rules teacher ever. I often teach a game partially wrong
yes.
every time I teach it. So if you find me in person and want to play a game with me, I'll teach you it wrong.
But it's going to be an interesting, memorable time. That's for
That's
sure.
right.
Could
That's
be.
right.
At least you'll teach it. You got that
Exactly. At least there's that.
All right. Many of you are familiar with Storytime with Chris, but in order for me to give you the correct background information for my blunder, we need to have Storytime with John this time. So I'm going to take you back to the 80s. All right. Back before some of these jokers were born. And I acquired this game called Landslide, which actually came out in 1974. Not a particularly good game, made by Parker Brothers. It's about a presidential election. You garner popular votes, which you use as cash, basically, and you auction off the states for their electoral votes, which is how you win the game, have the most electoral votes at the end of the game after all the states come out. Well, we started playing this, and I created my own legacy game back in the 80s. I said, I'm going to start keeping track of who wins this, how much they use, how many votes they get, all that, what region they're from, all this good stuff. And I realized we're playing this about once a year. We're going to make a thing where we play every November. It's going to be our election. We're going to play an election game. We're going to keep track. So we started doing that. And so it became kind of a big deal. We added more to it. We now have campaigns, all this stuff not part of the game. We make posters, we have speeches, we write stuff, we do all this stuff. And my brother, just to let you know, he even made a commercial one year, which we're going to play right now. So as you can see, this is a big deal in my family. Winning this every year is a huge deal. One person has won 10 times over the years. That would be me. One person has won a record 4 times in a row. That would be me. And so there's been a lot of pressure to beat me. And so last year, this was it. All 3 people against 1. Everybody's trying to beat me. And the way this game works is you pull states out and you auction them off. Usually one person knows what it is. But I knew I was winning, or I knew I had a chance to win. I wanted to end the game. And so I went to this thing called Secret Ballot, which is where you put 4 states out. Nobody knows what they are. You don't turn them over and you auction them off. There was only 4 states left. So this was going to end the game. I have a card that allows me to gamble any one of my states versus a state that's worth less. So I okay, I'm going to win this. I know I have the most votes. I'm going to gamble Texas against New Jersey. I'm going to win. If I win New Jersey, I win the game. Boom. We knew even if I won the 4 states, I wasn't going to win. That wasn't enough. Anyway, I win the 4 states. Awesome. Okay, I get this card. I'm going to gamble the state. Boom. I win. Sweet. I win the game. Then some person goes, there's like 5 rules in this game. Okay, it's written on the inside of the box. This is the way they used to do this stuff. Then somebody says, isn't the game over when the last state gets auctioned off? And as soon as they said it, I'm like, oh man, my desire for the drama of I'm gonna get, because if I lose this gambling the state, the auction means nothing. I wanted to win the auction and then and the game is over before I play my card technically. So, oh my gosh. So it's like, of course, we have to put this all, I have to, trump it up like I'm, hey, what is all this? What is all this shenanigans? And so, but then I finally concede, graciously, I might add. And then the winner gets to write it in the public record for the thing. No mention of my gracious, going of accepting the rules. Oh, it's so that was my biggest board game blunder. That's because I have to live with that now. I could have had 5 wins in a row and could have been king for life, basically. But there you go.
Tophered.
It was a bad game, but there's
Tophered.
I tophered it. There you go.
All right, guys. Well, what games have you tophered? Tell us in the comments. Tell us by what margin, and we'll have a good laugh. And make sure you like, share, and subscribe.
Hey, thanks for watching a clip from Around the Board. It's a show that comes out every other Thursday where we discuss board games and board game topics. We're awarded points, and at the end, whoever wins gets to be on their soapbox and say whatever they want. So if you want to watch the full episode, find the link in the description below. Thanks for watching.